Harry's wife, Dior. The New York Post reports Harry's wife rumoured to be signing deal with Dior in bid to reinvent herself. Now, this is a two-parter, so before you start getting all excited in the comments telling me, oh, this deal isn't happening, listen to what I have to explain in relation to this and save your comments for the follow-up video also. Thank you in advance. Notice this reference to her reinventing herself once again. How many reinventions has Harry's wife gone through so far? Well, she started off essentially describing herself as a strong independent feminist, although all the evidence is to the contrary. She then became part of the royal family and therefore sought to be a royal, but that lasted mere days. She then decided that she was going to be a philanthropic bananitarian celebrity, although examples of her philanthropy largely revolve around going to African countries but really for the purpose of a photo shoot, causing other people to spend their money to make her look good, for example, Pampers delivering a load of diapers and nappies, which she then claims credit for, turning up at Uvalde like some kind of ghoul, despite having no connection whatsoever with the place, and making it seem like she's doing so because she's a mother also, because children had been shot, but actually was just utilising it as a publicity stunt, failing, of course, to turn up at Buffalo, where many black people had been killed, despite her maintaining that she is a person of colour. She shows no interest in that. Presumably the optics wouldn't show as good for attendance there as she thought they would do for Uvalde. She then sought to reinvent herself as an author, but of course her own reading of The Bench of Stench was widely panned and is rumoured to have led to the removal of seeing the downvote, thumbs down button on YouTube. She then sought to reinvent herself of being involved in politics, writing letters urging the institution of parental leave, discussions about going to Washington with Gloria Steinem, never happened, having lunch with certain senators, never happened, cold calling senators, see parts passim as to the breakdown of all of that. Accordingly, that reinvention didn't prove to be fruitful. She then decided to reinvent herself as a content producer with RC Wipes and with Netflix. Well, we've seen what happened with Archetypes. It led nowhere. It was boring, bland, and she didn't even bother to undertake the interviews properly in certain instances, if the most recent allegations are correct. She couldn't provide any meaningful content for Shitflix. Even there, they misled people by using footage of other events to make it seem like it was them. For instance, a bank of cameras from the paparazzi at a Harry Potter premiere, meant to convey the level of press interest that there is in them. Following that, she went a little bit quiet, allowing Harry to hang out to dry as he was publicising Spare. And there was suggestion that she would reinvent herself, this time in relation to merchandising and resurrecting the TIG, going down the route of Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. But this has been a false dawn on 5 or 6 occasions. Oft mentioned, never has yet happened. Why does this reinvention keep occurring? Well, as a narcissist, she has no core stable self. Her narcissism, although she doesn't know this, causes her to present to the outside world whatever it deems appropriate to get hold of the prime aims, without any due regard for consistency. Ordinarily, this does not present such a large global problem for a narcissist because they are not as prominent, or where they are, they have a greater level of consistency with regard to the portrayal of what they are, because they actually have some talent backing it up. So, for instance, let us take Taylor Swift. She is a narcissist, but she has talent as a songwriter and a singer, as a musician, and that is what she regularly presents to the world. Taylor Swift doesn't decide that she started going to branch out into art. She might be a talented painter for all I know, but the point is, Her narcissism doesn't cause her to decide, I'm now going to go into politics. No, I'm now going to be an artist. No, I'm now going to deal in pottery. The form of her narcissism is such that because she has talent, it sticks with that talent, and that's what it shows the world outside. Harry's wife has no stable core self, but also has no talent. And because of the pursuit of the prime aims, her narcissism essentially does this. It's Monday. We need the prime aims. Let's do it by getting involved in politics. It's Tuesday. We need the prime aims. Today, let's make her an author. It's Wednesday. We need the prime aims. Today, let's make her a bananatarian. It's Thursday. We need the prime aims. To get them, let's make her a fashion icon. And on it goes. Ordinarily, with a less prominent individual who would shapeshift in such a way, the only individuals that would be left scratching their heads would be a small amount of people within the fuel matrix who could readily be replaced, and the narcissist moves on elsewhere. So, with the less famous narcissist, the fact that they keep shapeshifting, causing their partner and a group of friends and some family members to think to themselves, what on earth are you doing? Well, all the narcissists need do is alienate their family members, focus on getting a new set of friends, shifting some in, moving others out, and moving on to a new romantic partner. And then they can go through the same behaviours all over again until such time as those individuals start to think, why are you doing all of this? This doesn't make sense. They threaten control, they can then be put on the shelf or disengaged from, and the narcissist moves on to another group. Because their fuel matrix is not so large, although it requires a degree of industry, their narcissism is well suited to swapping people in and out, so that them shifting through these various roles as the chameleon they are doesn't actually pose such a problem for them. But for Harry's wife, it does. It poses a problem for her because it's so prominent, it's so obvious. Her narcissism doesn't function, as I explained, in the same way as, say, Taylor Swift's does. And instead, because she has no talent, and because of the way that her narcissism functions, it just shifts from one thing to another on an almost daily basis, which is then picked up on because of the level of scrutiny that she has. And therefore, her repeated reinventions are seen as completely transparent, but also they fail. People see, although they might not know about her narcissism, they see her as almost desperately darting from one thing to the other. But what about the suggestion that she's reinventing herself with Dior? Well, it states in the article by the New York Post, it's a brand deal that could earn her a lot of royalties. Harry's wife, 41, could soon be making a splash in the high fashion world, as a new report claimed she might be in the process of penning a deal with Dior in a bid from her talent agency, William Morris Endeavour, to reinvent the Duchess. In a new column in the Mail on Sunday, written by author Caroline Graham, an unnamed Beverly Hills socialite alleged that Harry's wife is all anyone is talking about. There have been rumours for weeks that she's about to sign a deal with Dior, which has put the gossip mill into overdrive, the source claimed. If she pulls that off, then no one will remember that her silly little podcast got cancelled after one season. The news comes just a few days after it was announced that the couple would be splitting from Spotify after Harry's wife's podcast, Archetypes, was not reviewed for a second season. A source explained that the Archwell media company did not produce enough content to receive the full payout of the roughly $20 million deal that Harry's wife and her husband signed in 2020. The 12-episode podcast series in which Harry's wife explored the labels that try to hold women back was the only project that the couple produced during their 2.5-year partnership with Spotify, along with a one-off holiday special. The insider claimed that this rumoured move to Dior may come as a shock to other members of the public, but that the agency has reportedly been working on the rebranding of Harry's wife for weeks. Harry's wife has been immersed in meetings since she signed with WME CEO Ari Emanuel and his team in April, according to Variety. But if Harry's wife does end up becoming the next Dior cover girl, it would make some sense, as she has worn the brand many times before. In 2019, she wore a cream dress with bracelet sleeves designed by the brand to her now 4-year-old son Archie's christening, per Newsweek, and a neutral-coloured haute couture coat dress to the Platinum Jubilee National Service of Thanksgiving last June, aka Inspector Gadget. It could also mark a new chapter for the Duchess after she and her husband decided to officially step away from their roles as senior royals in 2020. Eric Schiffer, who is the chairman of Reputation Management Consultants, told the Mail on Sunday that Harry's wife's team will use the drama to her advantage and is seemingly seeking to distance herself from the toxic emotional drama that Harry seems unable to put in the past. In other words, hanging him out to dry. Schiffer claimed that Harry's wife will look ahead and focus on the positive. She will go back to an image of a strong, successful woman. Okay. Who built her own career, did she? And will focus on serious women's issues, that she never has, but also things that are fun and aspirational, like couture fashion, he told the outlet. That's somewhat misguided to think that that's what she's built her success upon. She's done so by using men. Thus, there's the suggestion that Dior is going to come to the rescue, both in terms of reputation and money. And the fact is, what do people below the line have to say about it? There's been no formal announcement from Dior, and believe me, if she had a contract with them, we'd hear about it from one source or another. Since the Suits Netflix re-release Upstage effort was a fail, is this Harry's wife working her minions overtime in an effort to try to upstage the trooping of the colour? It wouldn't surprise me. She is one vindictive person, and most people realise this. LKR, if this happens, Dior will be on my do not buy list. Just Jen. Her negative rating must be through the basement. Why would Dior have her with all the positive ratings other celebrities would bring to the table? She is poison. Pablo Umo. OnlyFans is in her future. I imagine she'll leave him in a couple of years, claim he was abusive and his family is racist. She'll write a book, start a new podcast focusing on her journey, start a company selling box wine and crystal healing, and become a feminist icon. Similar comments provide her with no praise and question why on earth Dior would take this step. But the main focus in this video is not so much about her signing up with Dior, more on that in the next video, but more to do with the fact of how she reinvents herself, why she reinvents herself, and also the fact that it repeatedly fails. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.